There are two main types of issue that we face, one in relation to the unfair prejudice and another in relation to valuation. With regard to the unfair prejudice, shareholders have typically been in business for quite some time together, and there's rarely a very clear-cut distinction between when the actions of a majority shareholder went from acceptable to perhaps unfair. For example, if we consider somebody who might be running a company car through a business, that seems perfectly acceptable, but perhaps over time that company car could become 2 or 3 cars, perhaps very expensive sports cars, and then progress to being cars for friends and family, and by the time we get to that point, then that doesn't seem fair. So sometimes there's a blurring of lines between when the unfair prejudice arose. In respect of valuation, one of the issues to address is the date at which we need to prepare a valuation. Are we looking at the time before the actions happened, or are we looking at the current time? And if we're looking at the current time, are we doing a valuation but for the actions of the majority shareholder or as the business currently stands? These are issues that we would need to discuss with instructing solicitors to make sure that we're all on the same page. The other issue is in relation to the information that is available to the parties. So there's generally a big disparity of information between the allegedly unfairly prejudiced party and perhaps the majority shareholder who's still in the business. And whilst financial information can be addressed through a disclosure process, it's really the understanding of the story behind the numbers as to where the business has been and why it's performed in the way that it has and where it can be expected to perform in the future that's the issue for the minority shareholder. And ultimately, this is really important for the valuation of the business because the value of a trading business is in the future cash flows that can be expected to be generated for a shareholder. So if we don't understand how the business is going to perform, we're going to struggle to prepare a reliable valuation.